Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. So Goodreads has recently put out their most popular books of the year so far, the most popular books of 2022 so far. I was curious to see what they put there, so obviously when I clicked on that page, I scrolled all the way down to the romances to see what mess they've come up with this year. If you go onto the page, there are about 5 different sections, different genres, and each of them has their top 12 of that genre. The top 12 romances that Goodreads chose as the most popular books of the year so far, I actually have most of them right in front of me because of course most of them are traditionally published. Number 1 is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Number 2 is Booklovers by Emily Henry. Number 3 is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. Number 4, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Number 5, Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. Number 6 is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Number 7, Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. Number 8, One Night on the Island by Josie Silver. Number 9, Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. Number 10, The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. Number 11 is The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. And number 12 is Electric Idol by Katie Robert. So those are the top 12 romances of 2022 so far, all the releases in the first half of the year. And according to Goodreads, they rank them by the most interest and enthusiasm by Goodreads members, whatever that means. They add up reader reviews, want to read shelf ads, and the books have to be 3.5 starred or higher. So basically the same vague rules as the Goodreads Choice Awards, which means are we going to see most of them in November again? Probably. Honestly, I'm not surprised at about half of these that made it onto this list, like this stack. They're obviously going on the list because they're such popular authors. And of course we all know how Goodreads loves their traditionally published books and their illustrated / cartoon covers. I was impressed though, 3 of them didn't have cartoon covers. I mean, they still didn't have like real people on them, but they were more like abstract. Electric Idol, Reminders of Him, and Things We Never Got Over. But Things We Never Got Over is still a really cutesy cover, so that kind of fits the cartoon cover vibe. And we have only one little indie romance on this list, and of course it's like the most popular one that's been on the Amazon top 10 for weeks. It's super popular on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere. It's Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. 4 of them are from Berkeley and 3 of them are from Avon. For the less popular authors, I was a little surprised to see some of them, but 2 of them I was very pleasantly surprised to see, like Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. This one I really enjoyed, so I'm glad to see it on this list, but it probably has to do with the fact that it was a book of the month choice. Dating Dr. Dill actually has 20,000 ratings on Goodreads, which is amazing. The top 4 though, they're like blowing the rest out of the water ratings wise. Reminders of Him has 309,000, Booklovers has 170,000, Hook, Line, and Sinker 91,000, and Things We Never Got Over 82,000. And then like I said, Dating Dr. Dill has 20,000, Weather Girl has 19,000, Something Wilder 17,000, One Night on the Island 16,000, Delilah Green Doesn't Care 15,000, The No-Show is 16,000. The Wedding Crasher has 8,000, and I'm actually surprised the last one has higher than these because Electric Idol has 27,000 ratings, so I'm not exactly sure why it's at the very bottom of this list, but it's probably because of those want to read ads, which I honestly don't understand why they matter that much. I did end up reading all of these books, all 12 books for this video. I actually read 10 of them before the list came out. I only needed to read Delilah Green Doesn't Care and One Night on the Island to complete the list. Do I think that all of them deserve to be on this list? No. But it's actually not too bad of a list because I did give half of them 4 stars. There are no 5 stars though, I will say. If I were to rank these though, number 12 for me, the bottom of this list would easily be The No-Show by Beth O'Leary, because I did not like this book and I honestly do not see this as a romance either. I mean, there is a romance in it, but it's definitely not like the focus of the book. It is definitely the least romancy book on this list though. I gave this one 2 stars. It's basically about 3 women who all get stood up on Valentine's Day by the same man. One of them does end up with that guy, with the hero at the end of the book, so that's, you know, the romance there. There's a little twist with the story, but mostly you just get to know each of these 3 women and their relationship with Joe. And it's really hard for me to enjoy books with multiple storylines, like multiple romances, because you don't get enough time with each of them, not enough time to like get in depth with them. So that was my struggle with this one. Some authors can pull it off, some authors can do multiple romances really well, but this did not work for me. My number 11 would be Electric Idol by Katie Robert. I have just been struggling with this series. I wasn't a fan of Neon Gods, but Electric Idol, it was slightly better, but still not that good. It is pretty though. I do like the covers for the series. This one is another Greek mythology retelling of Psyche and Eros, which is actually a mythology that I love reading about. I love Psyche and Eros retellings, but I wasn't a fan of this one, mainly because I didn't really understand the hero. He is like an assassin for his mother, but I couldn't see why he just never stood up to her. I don't know, it was a strange read. The Marriage of Convenience also didn't really do much for me because I didn't feel the connection between Psyche and Eros. So yeah, this one, number 11. My number 10 is One Night on the Island by Josie Silver. This one does have a romance, but it does also feel woman's fiction-y as well, but it does have more romance than the no-show. This one is about two main characters who accidentally book this remote inn at the same time, so they show up and they have to now share a cabin together. She's English, he's American, and they don't get along at first, but slowly over the course of 1-2 weeks they do end up falling for each other, even though he is still married but separated. And then the last like 40% of the book is them getting off this island, going back home, and just not seeing each other for a very long time. They still text, but they very deliberately don't try anything romance-wise. They knew anything developing between them was gonna end once they got off that island, and honestly that part was so lame to read. They did not need to be separated for as long as they were towards the end of the book. So that one I gave 3 stars because I did like the beginning, I like the banter between them, but the ending was not it. Number 9 is Weather Girl, which I gave 3 stars as well, but it's like slightly better than One Night on the Island just because it was a lot cuter. Also, the whole premise I think is super unique. I just didn't really fall in love with the romance, but the heroine, she is a TV meteorologist and the hero is a sports reporter. They work at the same TV station and they try to set up their bosses back together. The idea of this book is really cute and really fun. I just didn't think it was executed well enough. I didn't connect with the characters or the romance because I barely felt any chemistry between them. I did like Rachel Lynn Solomon's other adult romance. That one was a lot better than this one. But yeah, this one was just an okay read for me. Number 8 is The Wedding Crasher by Mia Sosa. This one, I'm actually so sad I didn't love it more than I did because I love The Worst Best Man, and this one was like a much awaited standalone sequel about Dean, who was like the best friend in The Worst Best Man, but it didn't live up to my expectations, sadly. It just lost that charm, like Dean lost his charm from The Worst Best Man. So it was okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. It does have fake dating, which I normally love, but I also wasn't feeling it here. Solange and her family was great. I love seeing them again, but Dean just sadly wasn't what I was hoping for. The number 7 spot is for Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I really expected to love this one because of how much I loved It Happened One Summer, but this is another sequel that was a little disappointing for me. I gave it 3.5 stars, maybe 4 if I'm feeling generous, but Fox and Hannah, I mean, I love Friends to Lovers, but this one was just a little too frustrating, and it also just didn't feel as fun and cute as It Happened One Summer. It's hard not to compare obviously, but sadly it just wasn't as good as the first book. My top 6 though, I had a hard time figuring out the rankings for these because I gave them all 4 stars. They were all very good, very solid. I would recommend them all, but it's just a little hard for me to decide which one is better than the other. My bottom 6, I'm very happy with my ranking, but my top 6, this is just how I'm feeling at the moment. So it is totally subject to change if you ask me what my ranking is in like a month. Number 6, I am giving this to Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This is the FF romance on this list. It was my first time reading Ashley Herring Blake, but I really loved her writing here. It was a very heartwarming, like family-oriented, found family sort of romance. Delilah is the black sheep of her family. She grew up with her stepmother and stepsister after her father passed away when she was young. young, and she barely had any sort of relationship with them. But now they're all grown up, and Delilah has to go back to their small town to be her stepsister's wedding photographer, and she ends up falling for her stepsister's best friend. Claire is a single mom. They have a sort of forbidden relationship because they can't tell Astrid, the stepsister. It just got very emotional in a way that I didn't expect, but I did really enjoy. And also I'm super excited about the next book, which is supposed to be about the stepsister, about Astrid, and I'm really looking forward to that. Number 5 is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. This is another crazy emotional read. I teared up a little at the end. It is borderline romance and women's fiction, but I didn't mind that here just because I was very into the story. The romance itself, I could take or leave, but I was really here for the heroine's journey. Kenna went to prison 5 years ago and she gave birth while in prison, so she's never actually gotten to hold or meet her daughter. But now that she's finished with her sentence, she wants to reunite with her daughter and build a new life for herself. She does have a romance with the local bar owner who is a lot more connected with her family than she thought, but I was just feeling so bad for every single character in this book. They're all in this terrible situation because of the reason why Kenna was sent to prison. The writing is amazing though, as always, from Colleen Hoover. I would recommend this one if you like her more women's fiction-y books like Regretting You, All Your Perfects, or It Ends With Us. Number 4 is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. This is one of their second chance romances and it's got a treasure hunting twist to it. It did remind me a lot of Love in Other Words, but it wasn't quite as good as that one, but it doesn't have like the whole past present shifting chapters if you're not a fan of that. But for the second chance romance, main characters, they reunite after a decade of being apart. They reunite thanks to this treasure hunting trip that the heroine hosts, but they do get a lot more than they bargained for because something goes very wrong during this trip. The story kind of veers into romantic suspense, which I did not expect, but I did enjoy. There's just a ton of good longing here, especially from the hero. So if you love second chance romances, you love lots of longing in your romances, definitely read this one. For my top 3, number 3 is Dating Dr. Jill by Nisha Sharma. This one was such a delight to read. It's like an enemies to lovers romance with fake dating. I was also really happy to see that this book got chosen to be part of Book of the Month. It was a Book of the Month pick for like April, March, but I had the best time reading this one. It was funny, it had a good amount of steam, the banter was fantastic, and I'm just so happy that Book of the Month got this to be as popular as it is. Number 2 is from my girl Emily Henry, Booklovers. I surprisingly didn't give this one 5 stars like I thought I would because I gave Beach Read and Things We Meet on Vacation 5 stars, but this one was still solid. I still give it 4 stars. I just wasn't as in love with it as the previous 2 books, but this is a very bookish romance, like publishing romance. The heroine works as a literary agent and the hero is a book editor. They're forced into proximity when they see each other in this small town in North Carolina when the heroine is on vacation with her sister. They keep bumping into each other in this small town and now they have to work together because Charlie is the new editor for Nora's author. It was adorable, lots of good feels. I love Emily Henry's writing. I love her sense of humor. Nora and Charlie were legitimately the sweetest things. And then the number 1 book of this top 12 romance list, I have to give it to Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I'm giving it to the one indie book on this list and also the latest book that I read, which is probably why it's number 1 because it's so fresh in my mind. I thought this was such a fun small town romance. I love Lucy Score's writing here. It was my first time reading this author and I can see why so many people love her. I did give this one 4 stars, but it's like a high 4 stars if that makes sense. But here we have Grumpy Sunshine. The heroine is a guardian of an 11-year-old. There's an amazing cast of characters, a great community in this small town, and it's a little bit slow burn, but it doesn't hold back from the steam. But this one was great. I'm dying to read more Lucy Score now after how much fun I had with this. And I mean, I know I said my top 6, all of my 4-star reads were really hard to decide on, but this number 1 spot wasn't too hard to choose just because this one was really good and totally worth the hype. So that was my rearranged ranking of the top 12 most popular romances of 2022 so far. Are these my top romances of 2022 so far? No, but I did enjoy most of them, and you'll probably even see some of them in my future best of 2022 so far list. I will say there are some books that I'm genuinely shocked didn't make it onto this Goodreads list because they are so big and popular. So Twisted Hate by Anna Huang, that one was like the top of my mind. I'm really surprised it didn't make it. I mean, I know it's indie, but it's still huge. It's got over 40,000 ratings. Ali Hazelwood and her novellas didn't make it, and I don't know if it's because Goodreads purposely doesn't include novellas or something, but the first one in that series has over 40,000 ratings and the second one has over 22,000. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez isn't here, even though she's always in like the Goodreads Choice Awards. Part of Your World got 28,000 ratings, so I don't know what's up with that. I'm also surprised Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy wasn't here. I mean, it barely scraped by at a 3.59 rating, but still it's over 3.5. There were 3 indie romances that I saw that had a really high number of ratings compared to like the rest of the top 12. Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher has 51,000 ratings, so I don't know how it didn't make it. It's like up there with Things We Never Got Over. The author is huge on TikTok, and this book would be number 5 on the top 12 list if we like ranked it by ratings only. I personally didn't like the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, so I probably won't read this one, but still, it's huge. A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy also did really well this year. It's got 19,000 ratings. It's also another popular TikTok book. I haven't read this one, but I am curious about it. And then I saw Juniper Hill by Devney Perry has 17,000 ratings, which is not bad at all for an indie book, but we all know Goodreads loves their traditionally published books, and it's probably because all these traditionally published books get way more want to read ads than indie books, I'm assuming. But as a whole, the 12 most popular romances of 2022 so far, according to Goodreads, was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, only because I did enjoy half of them. But I am curious if you've read these books, how you would rank your list. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun doing my own little ranking. Before I end the video though, I do want to share about today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Dossier. Dossier is a perfume company that reproduces high-end luxury scents. They currently have a welcome offer up to 20% off their website, and you can get up to 30% off when you use my discount code. The extra 10% off applies on top of the welcome offer at checkout. Dossier also has a new payment method that allows you to earn store credit. Select cash at the last step of checkout and you'll earn a $10 sign-on bonus credit. You'll also earn 10% store credit with every order. I got these 2 perfumes this month. This is Gourmand White Flowers and this is Powdery Hawthorn. Gourmand White Flowers is inspired by Victor and Rolf Flower Bomb Eau de Parfum. Powdery Hawthorn is inspired by a Tom Ford scent, Metallic Eau de Parfum. This one is very powdery, so if you like that sort of scent, this is for you. A big thank you to Dossier for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check them out. I'll leave a link to their website and also my discount code in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!